G'day and welcome to another episode of Doesn't Matter. I just finished filming a class for my students again, a lockdown class, and thought I'd whip up another video today. I think I'm going to call this one Touching Base in Lockdown, because I've just been talking to a lot of people and sort of analysing how I'm feeling myself in these very unusual circumstances, and I'm sort of looking at other people around me in my life, my children in particular. They're an excellent test case for how the change in their routine and their ability to lie around watching Netflix and playing screens and sort of doing what they please, how surprisingly unattractive that becomes after a while. Even when they persist in playing another game or watching another show or whatever, you can see they're getting bored, they're getting frustrated. So sort of trying to keep ourselves occupied with models and games and exercise as well, and the odd outing each day to get a bit of fresh air wherever we can, while maintaining social distance and all the responsible behaviour. I'm absolutely certain that most of you are feeling the same way in terms of the weird feeling, the dislocation of it. I mean, I'm used to having this gym, which is a pretty big gym, 650 square metres all up, multiple rooms. It's empty all the time now, and I find that exceedingly odd. It's kind of nice initially because I get the place to myself. Everyone wants the house to themselves sometimes, or work to themselves, and have a nice quiet time with themselves, doing their own thing, not being interrupted. But it quickly runs thin. It pales after a while. I'm still working on the weekends in security, even though my gym is now shut. I'm just training here by myself. But it is, even at work, I work in the train station here in Adelaide, and it is like a mausoleum. It's a big stone building, and it is indeed just like a giant mausoleum. I mean, the trains are still running, but no one's getting on them. Very few people are getting off them or on them. I literally watched a couple of dozen people go through a station that has thousands of people go through it on the weekend each day, and I wonder after a while, all these massive ripple-like changes in our environment, how it's affecting the way we're thinking and feeling. What is it doing to us? We don't have full control over its impact on us. We have control over how we manage that and how we cope with that, and I'll speak on that a little later. But we don't have any real control on the initial effects. So, if I poke you with a pin, it's going to hurt. I don't care who you are, it's going to hurt. You're going to bleed. Okay, if you poke me with a pin, same thing. It doesn't make any difference. Big, small, short, thin, whatever. It's the same result. And I feel like the COVID and the COVID pandemic and the lockdown that's followed, which are not the same, though they're linked, they are impactful over time. It's not initially, but it's over time. And I was thinking today, and I could be completely wrong here, so I'm just thinking out loud, but it's almost like an act of masochism, a necessary act of masochism, in us all locking ourselves down and social distancing, and everyone clustering and staying at home in their own little dens. It is a form of self-punishment in order to avoid a greater punishment. I get that. That makes implicit sense to me. Nonetheless, extended hurting of yourself or harming of yourself over time has an impact. So what do we do about that? We are indeed harming ourselves by staying and doing what we're doing to avoid an even greater harm. So we can't avoid the smaller harms we're doing to ourselves to avoid the greater harm, which is COVID. We're all shit scared about the economy as well. Mind you, to be blatantly honest, we were headed towards a fairly deep recession anyway because of the structural issues that were at play in the global economy. COVID accelerated and has probably deepened the recession that we were going to have anyway. And so that's a worry to us all. That sits in the back of our mind as well, not just simply the immediate effects of the lockdown. Worry about getting sick, worry for those people amongst us who are vulnerable, more vulnerable to the COVID than others, and not being absolutely sure, because plenty of healthy people are dying. Whether we ourselves, even as healthy as we might be, could be vulnerable as well. So there's this interplay of thoughts that prey upon you if you let it constantly, and you can't do what you want. You have almost no privacy. I mean, my kids have been home 24/7 for 4 weeks now, pushing towards 4 weeks now. And to be blatantly honest, I love having them home this much. It's great. But I am by nature an introvert. I'm well adapted to life as an introvert in that I work with the public and I have all my life, so I'm well adapted to it, but I need time to myself. And having a house full of people 24/7, here right now, talking to you on the video, training, doing my classes, a bit of quiet meditation here. It's sometimes one of the only times I get, unless I want to stay up late at night, to myself. And I suspect that a lot of people are in that boat. I'm wondering if extroverts, let me know. Please fill out a comment and tell me what you think. But are the extroverts faring any better than the more introverted people? I'm definitely more on the introverted scale. I'm sociable and I don't have a problem with talking to people or having rousing debates with people. But I really get sick of people. People wear me out after a while, and I really need some time to myself or just with my innermost peeps. And I'm wondering how extroverts are dealing with the lockdown, being sort of confined with their hopefully favourite people. But you're missing a lot of your favourite people too. I imagine that would be a difficult thing for an extrovert too. You might be with your family and people you love, but you're also not getting to hang out with your favourite friends that you might have a beer with or a coffee with every day or most days, or at least a couple of times a week, and people you work with that you really enjoy working with if you're not working. So yeah, look, let me know how you feel. I'm interested. I'm just playing with ideas at the moment. I'm wondering how people are doing. I think talking about it is really important. So, if you want to even pop a video in the comment section, by all means, feel free to do so. Respond to me that way, any way you want. But I do wonder who's faring better in the lockdown scenarios, the introverts or the extroverts, or is it more of a, half a dozen of one, 6 of the other, I'm not sure. As an introvert, I knew that I would handle it better than some. I've got a couple of more extroverted friends who are absolutely suffering, and that's why I've asked more broadly, how are the extroverts amongst you doing? Because the couple of extroverts I know are really suffering. But I find myself, it took a while. First 2 weeks wasn't too bad at all. Last week was a bit harder. And then this week it started to sink in. I really, it takes me a while, I'm a bit slow. But I really started to miss my students, miss my friends. I miss these people, and I'm a hugger. I like to hug the people close to me. And no touching. Even if I see one of them in the supermarket, we go to the supermarket every now and then. I've got to stand 3 meters apart, can't stay there standing too long because no one wants to get sick. It's fucked. It really is fucked. Can't touch anyone, no privacy. You just it's a weird juxtaposition. At home you have no privacy. Everyone's crowded in home. No one's going out unless they absolutely have to. And yet at the same time, you're completely deprived of a lot of your social circle. you're completely deprived of a lot of the activities. No jiu-jitsu for me, no kickboxing. I haven't been punched in the head in weeks. No one's tried to choke me or wrench my arm off in weeks. I know that sounds strange to those of you who don't practice martial arts, but it's fucking weird for me. I need that. I need that desperately, and it's actually, I need that as much as hugs and eating and sex. I need someone to be wrenching at my limbs and pulling on my head and kicking and punching me. It's really important, and I thought I'd be better than I am after nearly 4 weeks of it, missing it. Well, we started about a week before the lockdown, so a week and a half before, so it's probably pushing closer to 5 weeks now that I haven't sparred with anyone, haven't wrestled with anyone. And yeah, I'm missing it so badly. That feedback, perfecting your art. And for a lot of us that are in sort of sports and hobbies that require interaction, it's kind of impossible. You can only do so much by yourself. It does let you work on some skills and things, but yeah, so that's, I guess, another question. How are those of you who are used to engaging in some kind of activities, whatever it might be? It could be playing Dungeons and Dragons, which I'm teaching my kids to play at the moment, so awesome. I'm a bit rusty, so dragged out the D&D 3rd edition and yeah, getting the dice out, and I'm doing some character sheets with the kids tomorrow, so hopefully we'll get off to a good start and get them into Geeksville nice and quick, and introduce them to one of my favourite games still. But yeah, how are you guys doing? Where you normally have that D&D meeting or that Magic the Gathering meeting if you're a nerdy type like me, or you know, you like to choke each other, jiu-jitsu and kickbox and whatever, or you know, or you just enjoy going to the gym and chatting away while you're spotting each other. I know everyone's missing the gym grievously, but how are you faring with that? My suspicion is no one's doing super great. Human beings are social animals, and we really aren't good at being in isolated small groups or on our own. I worry so severely for the people who are on their own. I'm driving down to my mum's tomorrow to sit in her front yard and talk to her through the window because I don't want to infect her. I have children, and I worry so. I'll be chatting to her from her front yard, and that's the best I can do. She lives on her own. She's got animals and stuff, but I still worry about those people who are on their own, living in a flat somewhere. I have a good friend of mine who's in a flat with 2 children in a 60 square metre flat overseas, and he must be going out of his brain. And if he listens to this podcast, my sympathies go with you, brother. Hang in there and give me a ring anytime you want to. Yeah, it's harsh. It's hard. But if I could suggest something, I have been practicing a lot of meditation and a lot of yoga. Yeah, I know it sounds very cliche, you know, just do some yoga, dude. Yeah, but it actually helps. It really does. Stretching, getting supple, controlling the breath. Wim Hof breathing. Wim Hof is a famous physical culturalist, breathing expert, mountain climber, blah, 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 lots of things, you know, can sit in a block of ice for hours, you know. The guy's astonishing. He climbed Mount Everest in a pair of shorts with no oxygen. And most guys getting high up are using oxygen tanks, and they're in Gore-Tex thermal wear. He climbed it in a pair of shorts, no top. He's phenomenal. So if you want a really cool dude that'll inspire you, Wim Hof, W-I-M-H-O-F, Dutch guy, an absolute gun, okay? Makes me feel soft, and that takes quite some doing. He's awesome. There's plenty of guys on the net like him. Seek out that which inspires you. That helps, that's a good step. Seek out that which inspires you and soak yourself in it. Lots of comedies, laugh a lot, meditate, practice breathing techniques, stretch. Don't forget your body. When you start to feel negative, It's really important to move the body in some form or fashion. Sometimes it can be just doing a breathing exercise like hold, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. There's a whole stack of different breathing, timed breathing, inhalations and exhalations. And they literally elevate your mood. They literally flatten out anxiety spikes, and they lift up dips, and they give you this nice, beautiful theta wave feeling. There's all kinds of hypnagogic type breathing techniques that can level you out and make you feel a lot better, and they're online for free. Loads and loads of people are offering this for free. And they're simple techniques. Most of them are simple, and they really do help. Stretch, put some good music on, go for a walk. Shadowbox if you're a martial artist, put some good tunes on, headphones on, and shadowbox. Meditate, mindfulness. Concentrate on how your body is feeling. Interestingly enough, people, when they sit down in the quiet, discover all kinds of things about their mind and their body that they didn't know because they've been so busy being busy. So this is an opportunity in this rather depressing state in some respects to actually explore what the hell's been going on all this time, well before lockdown. What's been happening to you? How have you been feeling? What's been going on? How does your shoulder feel that you injured 3 years ago? How is it? Have you got that full motion back yet? Is it there? Or is it still really stiff? That's something to work on. That's a task that can occupy you and distract you from your inner angst, because we're all suffering that inner angst. I'm beginning to feel it now, and I'm an introvert who spent 2 weeks in the desert by himself. Okay, but I'm beginning to feel it a little bit, and I can tell in another 4 to 8 weeks it'll start to hammer home, by which time most of you will starting to go a little crazy. Find distractions, not just distractions. Find ways to be mindful of things other than your suffering. Look, at the end of the day, you got a burn on your arm, which I've had before, nasty burn on my arm, another one on my leg from work, okay? Hurt like crazy for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, not days, weeks and months. It hurt. And every time I did some hard training on it, it would ache afterwards and I'd have to ice it. It sucked, okay? But I learned to focus on other things. I couldn't ignore it. The pain was too severe sometimes. Even after I'm getting a bit bilious. Popped the Nurofen, still ached. I had to focus on other things, and that's what got me into, mindfulness and meditation and breathing techniques, stretching, yoga. I've done yoga on and off since I was a 20-year-old, so because it really does help distract you from discomfort, pain, emotional pain. Look, whenever I had a bad breakup, and it was usually me getting my ass turfed, okay, maybe I was a crap boyfriend, I don't know, but usually it was me being thrown out the door and all heartbroken and angsty and, full of ground glass, that kind of feeling. Most of you experienced it. I would throw myself into training, but I would also throw myself into books. I would read endless amounts of books on self-development, on self-improvement. I would make a task of healing, make a task of learning from that experience. What could I have avoided? What couldn't I have avoided? Couldn't I have avoided? What do I have to accept? What do I have to change? So on and so on. It was really, really useful. And when I stopped doing that, which I did do for a while, my life went to absolute shit. So once you start doing this, don't stop. It's really, really useful. Mindfulness and paying attention to yourself and others and the interdynamics that are playing out inside you and around you. It's a skill it can't be priced. It's priceless. So breathe, stretch, seek out humour as much as possible. I'm trying to watch at least a couple of comedy sessions, comedy specials a day. I'm trying to see at least 1 or 2 a day. I'm reading a lot. I'm listening to lots of interesting people. I'm listening to lots of different points of view too. I'm trying not to get siloed because it's really easy to do that. I'm listening to all kinds of wacky, some sensible libertarians, some wacky ones. I'm listening to some interesting socialists, interesting people on the more conservative side, interesting people on the more progressive side. Everyone has value. Everyone has something to offer. Not everyone. That's not true at all. That's complete rubbish, actually. Lots of people have value, okay? But you will encounter an awful lot of shit out there too. They get caught up in that because that's a distraction you don't need. Being caught up in useless debates, being caught up in misery, but overly focusing on disaster. Look, there's nothing you can do about it. Do the right thing. Wash your fucking hands. Mask up. Trust me, they work. Mask up when you go out. Keep social distance. And in the meantime, focus on being a decent human being. Focus on being the best human being you can be. And take it easy on yourself. If you make a mistake, take it easy on yourself. Someone else makes a mistake, offer them the same courtesy. Take it easy on them. We're all trying, we're all under pressure. It's kind of hard. But in the meantime, breathe, stretch, laugh, and keep doing it over and over again. Rinse and repeat. I promise you, the next few months will go a lot faster and a lot more pleasantly if we can all focus on being honest about how we're feeling. And there's going to be certainly days and weeks where I feel like absolute dog shit in this circumstance. But I have the tools to cope with that and improve it and turn gold into lead. The greatest skill that human beings have, by far, even one step above our innovation, our imagination and innovation, is our ability to turn gold into lead. Our ability to make difficult circumstances not only bearable but even enjoyable. That's the superpower. And it's not just me, it's not just you, it's everyone. Every single person has that capacity to be the philosopher's stone, to transmute what is shit into something that is good. It's up to you. Cheers, guys. Speak to you again soon.